This is a story called What We Did and Didn't Do During Our School Days. Me. When I was a toddler, my mum took me to play school at St Margaret's Church, around the corner from where we live. I hated it from the word go. All I did was cry. I remember one day it was thick as snow outside, and all I wanted to do was play outside on the climbing frame. I remember my mum trying to get me off, and all I did was scream blue murder. In fact, all I did every day was every day. In fact, all I did every day I was there was cry. The staff let me join a club which I think was called the Topsy Turvy Club, and they even gave me a badge. However, I still cried and cried every day until my mum decided not to take me anymore. When I was 5, I started Whitecourt Primary School in September 1977. At first I cried, but my mum had no choice but to leave me there. After a while I stopped crying and settled down. I loved that school, but some of the teachers were horrible. Some of them would hit you with a ruler or a slipper if you didn't get the answer to a question right. You'd be made to stand in a corner wearing a pointed hat with dunce written on it whilst all the other kids laughed at you. I remember one of the teachers grabbing my older sister, so my mum went down and did the same to her. I remember if we were naughty, we'd be made to stand in the corner of the classroom. If we were naughty in the playground, we'd be made to stand and face a wall. If we fell down, the teachers would love us better, clean up our wounds and dry our tears. I remember we were allowed to walk around holding the teacher's hands. We played games such as Wallflower, Bulldogs, What Time Is It, Mr. Wolf, Tiggs and Tiggs Off Ground, amongst other games. When it came to leaving Whitecourt and moving up to Broad Lane Middle School, I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay in primary school forever. I remember every time I had to go into the main building at Broad Lane, I hated it because that building really scared me. It still scares me now, today, even though it's now flats. I remember Mr. Walls, Mr. Two and Mr. Craig were my favourite teachers at Broad Lane. I was terrified of Mr. Woodruff because he used to throw ball rubbers at us. I remember he used to keep sweets in the classroom, and God help you if you went near them or took them. He would go absolutely crazy. I remember one day he gave me detention, and instead of doing it, I went into the playground and played with my friends. He came up behind me, grabbed me by my collar and made me do the detention. After that day, whenever I had him for lessons, I sat as far away from him as I could. I refused to do any of the work he gave me to do. It wasn't defiance or laziness, it was fear more than anything. I was also terrified of the headmaster, Mr. Hilton. I remember going to his office and asking for a plaster. He lost his temper with me and I was terrified. He had lots of different sized canes in his office and I was terrified he was going to cane me. I'd heard stories that he used to run across his desk and cane people. Thankfully, I was never that naughty that I had to be caned. When I reached the first year of Broad Lane, the bullying started. as my sister had moved up to Intake High School. The bullying continued for 2 years until thankfully my time at Broad Lane ended. I remember my first day of Intake High School. There was new kids everywhere and it was chaotic. Bullying aside, I loved it at that school even though I carried on every day because I didn't want to go because of the bullying. I remember arriving late almost every day and getting detention, which I never did. I also never did my homework. The more my parents and teachers told me to do it, the more I refused. I did the work expected of me in classes, I just never did my homework. I used to mess about a lot and I was always sent out of the classroom. When the teachers weren't looking, I used to spend the time I was outside the classroom pulling faces at the other kids and making them laugh. I had some pretty good friends back then. It's a shame I lost touch with a lot of them when we left school for good. Now I'm going to share the stories that other people have shared with me about their school days. My mum. I didn't like playing out, so I used to hide and the teachers would say, "We know you're there, June Midgley." Like a fool, I said, "No, I'm not." We used to have to close our eyes in the music room and listen to the music quietly. Me and my friend were laughing that much that while we had our eyes closed, the teacher must have grabbed my friend and took her to the front. All I could see at the side of me was her shoes and I couldn't stop laughing, so the teacher took me to see the head teacher. Facebook. Music lesson with Mr. X was worse. He expected us to make guitars and other musical instruments. There was 11 in our family. I couldn't even use the cornflake box because one of my sisters used them for dolls' houses, while my brothers used it for their cars as a garage. Detention for me every time. Facebook. Me and Stephen Meadowcroft used to be in the school beans. When we broke up for the 6-week holidays, we would get loads of empty writing books, pads, pens and pencils that had been thrown away. Facebook. I left in 1977. We played Hot Rice. We went on school trips to Ebden in 1977. We played in Bramley Park. We played Bulldog as well. One of the teachers, Mr. Walls, was a great teller of ghost stories. Facebook. I loved my time at Broad Lane. I too remember playing Hot Rice and Bulldog. Me and my friend got caught writing on our desk and we had to stand in the middle of the playground and scrub them. We also used to sneak out at lunchtime and go to a friend's house. I remember the trip to Bolton Abbey. I was the house captain of Greenhouse. My favourite teacher was Mrs. Hatfield, but I always loved music with Mr. X and science with Mr. Sue. Mr. Akram was Egyptian and he ate dates and cheese for lunch. The head teacher for the majority of the time was Mrs. Joe. She would slap your legs if you stepped out of line. I used to do office duties for her. I loved school dinners. I left in 1976. Facebook. I went to Broad Lane from 1978 to 1982 and I loved it most of the time. I wish I could go back and realise how carefree it was. We went to Thorpe Hall and I remember thinking how funny it was to hear the teachers calling each other by their first names. I was in the school play I was in the school play, an updated version where instead of a prince it was a pop star. I played an ugly sister. Cy Chadwick, who went on to star in Emmerdale, played the pop star's manager and bodyguard. We all did the Prince Charming Adamant dance at the end. Mrs. Hatfield was a great art teacher. She used to let us listen to music in class. Great memories. Facebook. We had winners and losers. Facebook. At Wesley's Girls High School, I had some lovely friends and I loved the learning. I was being abused by my stepmother, so I wasn't allowed to do anything out of school. Funny thing is, I work with a girl I went to school with. I'm now friends again with 3 others. Another has opened a very successful wax candle shop in Farsley called Box of Whiffs. She's smashing it. I had to leave school at 16 as my stepmother made me. When she left, I went to college and ended up nursing. I got an amazing passion for reading through spending every lunchtime in the library. I used to get bullied by a girl. One day she was punching me in the back as I walked round the playground and I lost my temper. It had been going on for a couple of years but the teachers did nothing. I dropped my bags and punched her in the face and I'm sure I burst her lip. Guess who got into trouble though? Yup, me. Facebook. We used to knock off and play Monopoly at a friend's house all day. Facebook. I used to say Julie Sheldon and play Bright House. The end. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like it. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please feel free to like, share, comment and to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. If you're watching on Instagram, please feel free to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Love yous. Bye.